Assalamu alaikum and a special welcome to our prospective parents. Before we start, I would like to request Imam to read a verse from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
I hope all of you managed to stay safe and well throughout this period of isolation and social distancing necessary for combating COVID-19. We wanted to present the PrEP information session in person, but unfortunately we can't do that. I hope this is a valuable and informative session. Before we go through the main topics of this session, I will go over the structure of our college. Mr. Ali Kadri is the Chief Executive Officer who is responsible for the business, operations and management of the school. Then we have Chief Learning Officer Mrs. Susan Scott, who is responsible for the academics, curriculum, assessment and planning, pedagogy and professional development. Mrs. Roxana Ashraf is the Head of Primary, who leads our primary campus. We also have Dean of Students, Head of Welfare, Director of Teaching Learning and Director of Islamic Studies. We will cover the following topics throughout this session: our college values, our PrEP readiness assessment, what can you do to help your child get ready for PrEP, what is the value of a perceptual motor program, what does the school need to know, how can you help the school to help your child, what should you expect in the first few weeks, and how do you, the parents, get through the first few weeks. Our school values are based on the acronym TRUTH, which stands for tolerance, respect, understanding, trustworthiness, and honesty. The school aims to create an Islamic environment in which students can thrive and uphold these values. The purpose of this session is to discuss school readiness and how you can help your child to prepare for big school. In Queensland, children are eligible to attend the preparatory year, PrEP, if they are 5 years old by the 30th of June in 2022. This means that children born July to December would attend PrEP in the year after they turn 5 years old. PrEP is the first year of schooling and provides the foundation for your child's education. Research shows that children who start school when developmentally ready to learn tend to do better in school, and it sets them up for further success later in life. We have a process in place for enrolling students into PrEP to support a great start to school for your child. If students are eligible for PrEP, they are to sit for the PrEP readiness assessment. This will help our PrEP team to assess your child's development and readiness for school. Ms. Katie Stevenson, our PrEP coordinator, will cover the information about the PrEP readiness assessment. She will also talk about the importance of perceptual motor skills, which are essential skills that students are to develop from a young age.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon or good morning. My name is Katie Stevenson and I am the current PrEP coordinator for ICB. I'm just going to go through some of the ICB PrEP readiness assessment, and if you have any questions, feel free to send an email to me. So the purpose of our PrEP readiness test is to assess whether or not students are ready to start school, but it also gives us insight as to where the kids are coming from, what skills they possess, what things need work, as well as any behavioral or educational challenges they might have that we would be able to address better if we had prior knowledge. It assesses physical readiness, whether or not they are self-sufficient enough to toilet themselves, organize their belongings, feed themselves, emotionally ready. So if it's easy for them to separate from mom and dad, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and if they demonstrate any self-soothing behaviors, socializing with their peers. So we assess their social readiness, and that's done mostly through the orientation day. So are they able to compromise, share, take turns, participate in group work? Their academic readiness. Now, although children do not need to be able to read and write in order to start prep, we do look at whether they have early skills in alphabet and general number sense. So we're also looking at if they're able to do some of the fine motor things that we start off with, such as cutting and gluing, pencil grip, and things like that. We're also looking at, during the testing for the readiness test, we're also looking at concentration. So are students able to focus on activities? Are they able to sustain concentration for a significant amount of time? And as well as language skills. So are the children able to understand and communicate with teachers and peers, follow instructions and directions? And we look at that during the readiness test as well. How can I help prepare my child for prep? So the transition into school is daunting. However, you can make it a lot easier by participating in kindergarten programs in the local area. Kindergarten programs are, a great way for kids to get a feel for more of a structured environment. And we fully encourage kids to attend kindy before they come to school. So it does introduce them to, socializing with other kids, and, used to routines, and teachers and, kind of organizational things like that. But it gives them a little bit of independence prior to starting real school. So most kindies have some exposure to letters and sounds, writing their names and counting in sequence, which is, not essential for starting school, but definitely helps kids transition easier into the classroom. As well, to make the transition easier for yourself and your child, you're able to fully support them at home by listening to them, talking about their thoughts and concerns and their feelings, even if they're hesitant about school, discussing it before they come, and building up their confidence. So, talk to them about when you started school. How did that happen? What was it like? It might have been in a different place, and you can really talk about some of the differences that they might encounter, and build them up for it. So if they know what they're going to expect, it's easier for them to kind of come in because they're ready. Definitely encouraging independence is something that we stress to parents. Packing and carrying their own school bags is essential. Teachers will not be able to carry all of their students' bags to and from the bays. Putting their shoes on, attempting to tie their laces if they have laces. We encourage Velcro because it's much easier for kids to take their shoes off, dump out sand from playtime, and put them back on by themselves. So eating and drinking without help. Now, teachers are available, of course, to help with containers and with opening packages and things like this. However, we won't be feeding children. We won't be heating up lunches. So you have to make sure that what they're bringing to school, they are able to navigate eating by themselves. Toileting as well is something that they have to do independently. Accidents happen. We totally understand that. And we encourage parents to make sure that they have extra clothes inside their bags so that we can help change if accidents do come up. However, we really encourage that the kids have to be able to go to the toilet by themselves, clean themselves, wash their hands, and come back to class. Using tissues below their nose, especially with COVID, there's not going to be help there as well. And as well, we want to make sure that students, before they start school, are already aware of hygiene and hygienic practices that are going to help to keep them safe as well as their peers. So making sure that they know how to wash their hands properly, know how to clean themselves properly is, essential. So make sure that you have time to talk with your children and read with them. Please read with them. Reading with them and sharing stories is such a great way to build literacy skills and to, introduce vocabulary and really build confidence in reading and starting to read. Again, building on from transitioning, I mentioned reading. I fully encourage parents to please, if possible, get to your local libraries, borrow books, have kids even just looking through the pages, gets them, thinking about different scenarios, stimulates their creativity, and initiates a love of literature, which really will help them in the long run. The Perceptual Motor Program at the Islamic College of Brisbane is a strategy that assists in the development of a child's gross motor and fine motor skills. So it enhances brain development through movement, aids concentration and ability to focus, and gives a sound basis for all future formal learning. So we have students participating in this certainly through the first term at school, and it just gives them an ability to use their senses to make judgment, react accordingly through designed activities, and as well, it encourages them to, manipulate their bodies using balance by running, skipping, jumping, crawling and climbing, and using a variety of equipment. So it does really help them strengthen those skills and even build up muscle in their own bodies that will fully help them as they go. Through the Perceptual Motor Program as well, we target the listed skills as well as abilities. And it's really important that these are things that we focus on because they directly transition into the classroom, whether that's through reading, so using those visual and spatial skills to track with their eyes and fingers in reading books, as well as using those fine motor skills to utilize pencils in the classroom and coloring and scissors and all that kind of thing. All of these skills need to be developed in order for students to be successful in the classroom. Now, the next slide shows you a video of a student going through some of the Perceptual Motor Program. So please have a look. Key learning areas are aligned with ACARA. That's the Australian curriculum. That includes English, which has 3 subcategories. So reading and viewing, writing and shaping, as well as speaking and listening. Mathematics, which also has 3 subcategories: number and algebra, measurement and geometry, and statistics and probability. Science, humanities and social sciences, health and physical education, digital and design technologies, the arts, languages. Students will be exposed to Arabic, and that's taught by Ms. Rola Hamza, and as well as Islamic studies, which is taught by Hakima Mesbah. Homework is something that, is met sometimes with some hesitation. Now, you are your own child's parent, and you can decide whether or not you want to participate in homework at home, but we encourage it just to help consolidate skills that are being taught at school, but as well it gives you a really great insight as to how your child is going. It gives you a full view of what they know and what they might need help with. So in term 1, we sent home Read With Me packs. So all that entails is we sent home a book for about a week, and there's different activities each night with the same book that you and your child can complete together. So we're not expecting the children to be able to read. We're hoping that you will read to them and just discuss some of the questions that we sent home just to get them more familiar with literature. In term 1 to term 4, the preps to 2s, so preps to year 2s in the Islamic College of Brisbane, use the Rainbow Words program. So that is a sight word program that starts in prep with sounds. So the sounds correspond to the sound waves program that we use, and it progresses from sounds into sight words. And those are revised at home but tested at school. In terms 2 to 4, we assign Literacy Planet and Math Seeds online. So these are our online programs that are used, as well as home readers. And the home readers are directly linked to their reading level at school. So they will be tested for reading in term 2 and term 4. Don't be alarmed if your child's not reading. Students pick up at their own pace, but generally after they have a good knowledge base of sounds, they can use those sounds to blend to form words, but also it becomes a little bit easier for them to visually recognize words in books, having been exposed to the sight words. Literacy Planet and Math Seeds, we will assign activities online, but as well, it's up to you to determine if you want to participate in this or not. Some teachers might send home paper homework just to target specific skills in individual students, but that's something that will be discussed with you from the classroom teacher. You're encouraged to help, but please don't complete homework for your child. Encourage them to try their best. That's all we can ask. And it won't serve them any benefit if you are coaching them through the consolidation of the skills. So your child is now starting in prep. Information that the school needs definitely is that makes it easier for us is kindy transition statements. So these statements are written by your child's kindy teacher and give us a lot of great information as to strengths, interests, motivations, challenges, or things that need improvement. Sharing this with us is really important. It helps us target where they are and continue their learning path. As well, medical information is needed, especially in terms of allergies and anaphylaxis, asthma, and any other medical condition that teachers will be directly responsible for in the classroom. Anything behavioral well-being, anything that you've observed at home or in kindy that you're concerned about, please bring to the attention of your classroom teacher. As well, if your child's attending any occupational therapy, etc., please make sure that those transition statements are passed along. Now, if you want to help inside school, parent volunteers are always welcome. There is a form to fill out you can contact me, the prep coordinator, if that's something you'd like to do. We can get you the paperwork to sign off on. You can become involved through Parent Helping, of course, I just mentioned that, or the Parent and Friends Committee is a body of parents that helps to raise money for the school and for programming for kids. The Rainbow Words, definitely assistance is always welcome in testing some of those words. So, talk to your classroom teacher if you'd like to come in and volunteer to help testing. It does take quite a while, especially when kids are so young. So that's obviously appreciated. There's also reading rotations that happen at school, as well as excursions or general help. Just be in contact with your classroom teacher and they will let you know if they can use their services. Obviously with COVID, it becomes challenging for volunteering options. So, of course, follow the guidelines of the Australian government on that one. Attending information sessions obviously might not be able to happen, hence this recording. But, going through slides like this and getting yourself aware of what's encouraged, what's coming up, that kind of thing is beneficial to you and your child. One of the things that I can't help but stress enough is attendance, arrivals, and departures. It needs to be taken seriously. I always talk to my kids about this being their first job, and I am, essentially their first boss. And, it's important that they arrive on time. If they're not here on time and they're coming, half an hour, 45 minutes late, they've missed the first lesson. And most times the first lesson is the most important ones because that's where we get our best learning. So, it's important that they come on time. It's important they're picked up on time because teachers leave after 3:40 and students are left alone. So it's important to make sure that you're here on time to collect your student, to drop them off. And if you're going to be absent, we understand, just contact the teacher or the office to let them know. And if you're going on an extended holiday for some reason, or that you will be out of school for a longer period of time, you can apply for an exemption at the front office. Support your students in homework if you decide to do that, and otherwise, thank you. In the first few weeks of school, it might be overwhelming. Try your best. Oftentimes, students are crying, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this presentation. However, it's okay. And it's okay for you to feel sad too. For some people, it's their first child coming to school or perhaps their last child coming to school. And it is an emotional time. And I completely understand that, but just try your best. Content-wise, we don't really start into the curriculum until week 2. Week 1 we use as a, kind of a guide, letting kids get used to the routines, really setting up those structures. We have some fun activities, but we're not getting into the nitty-gritty of everything until week 2. So we just really in week 1 want to boost confidence, create a cohesive classroom, let people get to know their new friends and settle into routines. In the first few weeks of school, it might be overwhelming. Try your best. Oftentimes, students are crying, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this presentation. However, it's okay. And it's okay for you to feel sad too. For some people, it's their first child coming to school or perhaps their last child coming to school. And it is an emotional time. And I completely understand that, but just try your best. Content-wise, we don't really start into the curriculum until week 2. Week 1 we use as a, kind of a guide, letting kids get used to the routines, really setting up those structures. We have some fun activities, but we're not getting into the nitty-gritty of everything until week 2. So we just really in week 1 want to boost confidence, create a cohesive classroom, let people get to know their new friends and settle into routines. In the first few weeks of school, it might be overwhelming. Try your best. Oftentimes, students are crying, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this presentation. However, it's okay. And it's okay for you to feel sad too. For some people, it's their first child coming to school or perhaps their last child coming to school. And it is an emotional time. And I completely understand that, but just try your best. Content-wise, we don't really start into the curriculum until week 2. Week 1 we use as a, kind of a guide, letting kids get used to the routines, really setting up those structures. We have some fun activities, but we're not getting into the nitty-gritty of everything until week 2. So we just really in week 1 want to boost confidence, create a cohesive classroom, let people get to know their new friends and settle into routines.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Mrs. Ackland, Dean of Students for the primary school. I would like to talk a little bit today about separation anxiety. Separation anxiety is when children are scared to be apart from their parents and carers. It's a very, very normal behaviour in very small children. A few of our school-age children do develop a more serious form of this condition, which is known as separation anxiety disorder. To help you deal with the normal separation anxiety, there are a few things you can do to make this easier. You can practice leaving your child with someone you trust for small times at first and gradually make these times longer and longer. As your child adjusts to these periods, they will start to understand that you will always come back and pick them up. Schedule separations at times of the day when you know your child is naturally calm, rather than the afternoons when they might be a bit ratty or when they're hungry. Develop a ritual. Rituals are really, really good because they are like a trigger for your child to know that you will be coming back. Special kiss, special wave, special handshake for the boys, bit of a high five. Then you can just quickly leave. I'm going now. I'll see you this afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Have a good day. It's really, really important that you make sure that if you say you're going to be there at 2 o'clock, you're there at 2 o'clock to pick up your child, because your child needs to develop the confidence that you're going to come back on time. Okay, if you're leaving them with a new person, the surroundings at school will become more and more familiar from day to day. It will become easier. And your caregivers at school, of course, are your teachers and your teachers' aides. You need to put your trust in them, because even if your child is crying when they leave you, once they get into the classroom, get distracted, start playing games and having fun, they usually don't even miss you that much. Also, minimize things that might cause fear in your child. So scary videos, scary television. Children of this age, prep age, they cannot separate reality from fiction. So when they're watching scary videos, to them it's very, very real. They do not understand that it's make-believe. And the last thing is you need to be a little bit firm. Set your limits, be consistent. When you say you're going to leave, leave. Try and be calm. We know it's upsetting sometimes, but the more upset you get, the more upset your child will get. Try and stay calm, take a deep breath, say Salam Alaikum, and leave very quickly. Information regarding the enrolment process is clearly explained on our website on the Enrolment Steps tool. Our college hours are from 8 a.m. to 3:10 p.m. If parents are unable to drop off or pick up on time, we have an outside school hours care service available for them. The Scholars Group is the operator of the Islamic College of Brisbane's outside of school hours care. They provide a service from prep to year 6. The service operates from 6 a.m. for before school care until 6:30 p.m. for after school care. The childcare subsidy is available for families to help them to reduce the costs of outside school hours care. All school uniforms are available for purchase from the Lowe's Woodridge store. Here are some important dates to remember. We will have 2 sessions of our prep readiness assessments, the first to be held from the 13th of September to the 17th of September, and our second session will be from the 1st of November to the 3rd of November 2021. Our prep orientation day will be the 23rd of November 2021. We will have 2 sessions from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. If you would like a tour of our school, please book by contacting admin on 07 3841 3645. Tours are available every Tuesday and Thursday. Our preps will begin next year as follows. Monday the 24th of January 2022 will be the first day of school for the prep girls. Tuesday 25th of January 2022 will be the first day of school for our prep boys. On Wednesday the 26th of January 2022 is a public holiday, and on Thursday the 27th of January 2022 all of our prep students will attend school. I hope you have found this session informative and useful. If you have any further questions, please forward them to our Student Services Officer or our school administration on the emails listed on this slide. Thank you very much for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.